Failed former President Donald Trump held his one and only solitary and single campaign event last week in Bozeman, Montana, after a supposed emergency landing for supposed mechanical reasons 150 miles away and showing up insanely late. He suffered an insane orange meltdown, with the crowd silent during long stretches of his ranting. Trump in general really struggling. This is tough to watch because Trump is struggling so poorly and seems so confused, but also because if you look at the crowd behind him, they're kind of like, what is going on here? Take a look at these stunning 28 seconds of the speech.
That's a few months now. The numbers are much worse. They've let an invasion of our country happen, but I took a look. And because I took that look, I mean, what are the chances of that? So I just want to thank everybody, because I'll tell you what, the level of love and compassion and all of the things that we all went through, that was a terrible thing.
Yeah, they came for Republican red meat, and all they got was a disjointed word salad instead. It's notable that even his most committed cultists, who presumably are the only people remaining still going to these harebrained rallies, even they're visibly bored with the same old stories, which Donald Trump increasingly struggles to tell coherently. Trump then, yes, there were glitches, a lot of different glitches. At one point, he talked about somebody being deportated.
Deportation. He didn't want the person deportated.
I wouldn't wish deportation on my worst enemy. I really wouldn't. And then, of course, you knew it was going to happen. Trump suffering from a lack of endowment when it comes to the size of his crowds, starting to lie and distort about the size of the Harris Walls crowds, which are genuinely huge.
I think we're going to write up one standard speech. You read it from beginning to end. You know what would happen? You'd start walking out. They'd say, oh, look, Trump's not holding.
Now, you know what's really funny? Trump delivers the same speech that he repeats from beginning to end. And every single speech, we hear reports or we see video of people walking out while Trump is speaking. But he wants us to believe that it's happening at the Harris Walls events.
Yesterday, they said, oh, she had a big crowd. Oh, the crowd. The press is talking about the crowd. In New Jersey, I had 107,000 people. The press never even talked about it.
The reason the press doesn't talk about Trump having 107,000 people is that he didn't have 107,000 people. It's something like 70-something thousand people go to whatever town that was in New Jersey. Was it Wildwood? I don't remember. Someplace on the Jersey Shore. 70-something thousand people go on a normal weekend day total, like to go to the beach, to go to restaurant. That's the max number. Some of them accidentally stumbled by Trump's rally, but by all accounts, Trump's rally had 15 to 20,000 people. That's why the media doesn't talk about him having 107,000 people there. And this, by the way, is why we have to keep talking about the size of Trump's crowds, because he can't handle it. It is wildly triggering. You know, I look at fundraising, I look at polling. I don't really focus on crowd size, especially like in 2020 when only one candidate was doing rallies. What will rally crowd size tell you in 2020 when Biden's not even doing rallies of the sort that Trump is doing? But we should talk about it because it drives Trump absolutely up a wall. Trump was working on attack lines against Joe Biden with his Montana audience, which is weird because he's not running against Joe Biden anymore, but he seems to think he is. Also, there seems to be a woman sleeping behind Trump over Trump's left shoulder.
I think Crooked Joe is more correct than say.
I'm sorry. I guess that's a guy. I don't even want to assume. I don't know. Someone looked sleepy.
You're like, all right, ready? Crooked first, right? What do you like better? Crooked Joe? Or Sleepy Joe?
Oh, okay. But correction. It's a man, not a woman. And they were pretending to sleep because Trump was saying Sleepy Joe. So I correct myself. There was not a woman sleeping. There was a man pretending to sleep.
Crooked seems to always win. I mean, he's a crooked guy. All he had to do is think of it. If he didn't do the debate, he'd still be running.
All right. So Trump seems to weirdly still be focusing on how to attack Biden, even though Biden is no longer running. Not only are the crowd size stories getting to Trump, the "you guys are weird" stories are getting to Trump as well.
And then he said, by the way, J.D. Vance is doing a phenomenal job. But then he said, well, think of that. Think of the things I just said. Then he said, you know, I think J.D. Vance is weird. You know, it's a word that they use. I think he calls me that too. No, we're not. We're very solid people. We want to have strong borders. We want to have good elections. We want to have low interest rates. We want to be able to buy a house. We want great education. We want strong borders. I think we're I think we're the opposite of weird. They're weird. You know what they do? They work with the press on coming up with the sound.
There's no way I am, but you're really the weird one. I mean, that's really as weird as not me. It's actually you.
They have nothing but "I know you are, but what am I?" That's what they're relegated to. Trump continuing the transphobia, which always gets the biggest applause. The crowds are dead. They are bored out of their minds, wondering, when do I get to go home? Except when Trump launches the transphobia, and he did once again against Olympic boxer Imani Khalif, which, just as a reminder, was born a woman, has always been a woman. There's no trans issue here. And yet people like Trump and others are arguing that she was actually born a man.
And I'd like to congratulate the young woman who transitioned from a man into a boxer. You saw she won the gold medal. How about the young beautiful Italian boxer? She got in there and she didn't know what was going on. And
yes, none of that is true. No evidence whatsoever that Imani Khalif transitioned. No evidence that Imani Khalif was born a man or any of it. Just a transphobic story over which many media outlets have now had to apologize. And then finally, Trump wrapping the rally by calling Kamala Harris dumb, which I don't think is landing with anybody.
Since becoming a presidential candidate, she has refused to do a single interview. You know why? Because she's dumb.
Yeah, I don't think this is landing. Dumb is not convincing anybody to vote for Trump. Dumb is coming off as misogynistic and sexist, which it is. And there are both suburban women and just voters in general that are disgusted by it. This is not landing. But all he has are ad hominems and fury about the diminished and shriveled size of his crowds compared to those of Tim Walz and, of course, the person at the top of the ticket, Kamala Harris. One of our sponsors today is Zippix nicotine toothpicks. Zippix brings you a convenient alternative to smoking and vaping. And the vape clouds, the ashtrays, the thing in your lip that people can see. I've seen that around. This is an easier and less messy way to curb the cravings. And you can use Zippix just about anywhere. Zippix is available in 6 flavors with 2 or 3 milligrams strength. The nicotine and the flavor are long lasting, and Zippix has helped countless people kick the bad habits, and they are bad habits. Zippix toothpicks are FDA registered. Their customer service is second to none. It is one of the most cost-effective alternatives. Also, check out their B12 and caffeine toothpicks. See for yourself why so many people have switched to Zippix toothpicks. You can only get Zippix online. Go to zippixtoothpicks.com today. Save 10% with the code PACMAN10 at checkout. Just remember, you must be 21 or older to order. The link is down below.